Hi, good evening everyone. So I'm Eugenia from Rawsie. I think we're going to start now this live video. Hello everyone. Hi, I can see Fer joining. I'll try to add you right now to the call. No, that's not. Hi Robert, I can see Robert joining. Oh yes, that's good. I can see the request from Fer. So until we wait Fer to join us. Hi Fer.
Hi Mrs. Rawsie, how are you doing?
Yes, this is me. Very well. What about you?
That's your name, right? Rawsie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, actually my name is Eugenia, and you probably don't remember, well, you definitely don't remember it, but we actually met, not online, but in real life. I was once a student on your workshop in Brussels with talk. Yes, many years ago. And you know, I left it so inspired, and because I was working like a wedding photographer, and it was absolutely amazing. And that's why when Marine and Boris, you know, my lovely colleagues from Rawsie who organized this call, they said, well, we'd like you to interview a couple of photographers, and then everyone will have their own interviews. Who would like to be yours? And I said, well, I'd really like to interview Fer, because I left this workshop like completely different photographer, and I still had open questions, so that's why I thought, well, it would be absolutely amazing to ask them. And you know, probably some people could leave this conversation, this chat. I can see a lot of people joining right now, and you know, with some of the inspiration and this magic, you know, you did this workshop.
Beautiful. No, any way I can help, I'm here for you guys.
That's great. So my name is not Rawsie, it's Eugenia, just in case. Just in case. I'm CEO and co-founder of the company, and well, I invented a little bit the idea of the projects, and then my husband happens to be a physicist, invented the technology, which is now being used by Rawsie. So that's who we are. Listen, you know, so I introduced myself, but I really would like you to introduce yourself. Although I'm absolutely sure there are, like, everyone in this chat knows who you are, but I think it's always valuable to know how people, you know, think about themselves and how they introduce themselves. It's always different how we see people. So, and this is why it would be lovely if you could make a short intro. Even people, if they know you, I think it will be nice for them to hear it.
Definitely. Yeah, well, my full name, be ready. it needs to pass on Rawsie because it's freaking long. So it's José Fernando Juaristi Larracoechea.
I will be able to repeat it. Yes. All right.
Yeah, no, I'm a wedding photographer based in Monterrey, Mexico. And this industry has been just amazing with me. I started photographing weddings 15 years ago when it wasn't that cool to be a wedding photographer, at least in Mexico. And I'm just like a copycat of all my heroes.
All right. So exactly, my question was, what was your journey? But before you started to photograph, how did you end up to have this interest in photography? Did you study photography before? Did you, like, you know, some people just at the age of 5, they say, I want to be a photographer. Like, what was your story?
No, I'm the kind of guy who always felt lost, you know, and I follow my instinct and my passion and my happiness. So growing up, that was one of my leads. Where's the most amount of adults enjoying life? So my first work was at a Blockbuster video.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it, and I met a lot of people who enjoy the movies, you know, like cinemaphiles.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it's amazing. And then I played drums since I was like 13. So my group as well was people who were really passionate about things. Like money wasn't like an issue for me back then. And I think till today, it's like, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer, and I know that it comes from privilege as well. You know, that if you follow something that you love, money will follow. Maybe not huge amounts, but enough to enjoy life. You
Do
know,
you
so.
Can you link
Mhm.
it with the fact that when you love what you do it well, and then to some extent, people, you spend really, when you love what you spend a lot of time, you practice, you're more persistent, and then you get better results, and then people are more interested to pay you. Do you think it can be linked?
Yes, and as well, it's so easy to be naive at the same time. So you have to always know where your weak points are. And for me, like business and marketing are like my weakest links. So I've always tried to be closer to people who enjoy that, and they can teach me in a for dummies way.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
see.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but when some people, young people, when they want to become a full-time photographer, and I really see it in the community that we see now a lot of young photographers who manage to combine the passion and the day job, like the job that pays
Hmm.
the bills. Because it's true that the competition, well, I started, I think, actually 15 years ago too. And it's true, there was almost no one. So it was quite easy to be a good one because you understand kind of the natural beauty, you don't make people hide behind the trees, so on. So,
Hmm.
and you're already a good photographer. Then now the competition is significantly higher. And,
Hmm.
what do you think should be a pivotal moment for the person to think, okay, this is my passion, and spare some additional money on the weekends,
Hmm.
or I should quit my job and I should turn myself into a photographer? What do you think must-haves for a young person who wants to be a photographer but not full-time photographer yet?
Yes, well, all the answers are in the books. So I'm a big reader of like nonfiction to follow the lead of people that I admire. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because like in Mexico, like part-time jobs or well-paid part-time jobs doesn't exist. They don't exist. So I know that in Europe or in the US, you can have like a decent job and after that live out of a passion,
Yeah.
but usually here in Mexico it's all or nothing. So
Okay.
for me it was like, okay, I was just married. I wanted to see photography as a personal project inside weddings. So I had to make a call to make the safe bet or to start risking. Like even for me, like a big risk was changing my website from Spanish to English. You
Okay.
know, just like as an aspiration. Yeah, like I want to think bigger that where I live.
Yeah.
And I remember receiving like criticism, like why you live in Mexico, it has to be in Spanish, and I'm like, yeah, but I want to think not bigger, but I see that weddings are non-traditional in other places, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to aspire to get those. So for me it was that deal, I always thinking outside my box, my tiny little box. So I always started to educate myself outside my city and then trying to implement that information.
And did you start with weddings straight away, or were you looking for your niche, for your style, but
Hmm.
mostly for your, direction? Because sometimes you go to a young photographer's website, and I know because I was in the shoes, where you have a little
Hmm.
bit of, I don't know, car advertising and wedding and newborns, and I don't know, like all together. And
Yeah.
don't focus, right? And at some point, you just get
Hmm.
what is your thing, and you start focusing. And what was for you? Do you start with weddings straight away, or were you looking for this destination first?
Well, I studied mass media or communications. So my first job was at a newspaper, and then I started doing advertising, mainly on motion. I was doing like TV spots or like music videos as well. And then weddings was just by accident. A good friend of mine, a guitar player, was about to get married. So I said, okay, let me that's gonna be my gift to you, to photograph your wedding, with no experience at all, like nothing, you know. So I just went to Google and type first like fotografía de bodas, that's in Spanish, and I saw all these like super cliche traditional photography, and then I Googled like wedding photography in English, and I was lucky enough to find like a video of that was called like Masters of Wedding Photography, and it showed me like a personal way of doing those of photographing. So I got hooked. I was like, I want to be one of those guys, you know. I wanna try to see weddings as a personal project. But it took me like 3 years to have the courage to try to do it my way.
And who were those people, you know, this very first photographer? Like for me, it was Jose Villa for sure, and
Wow, yeah.
Christina. When I saw these photographs, I realized how beautiful wedding photography can be. Because before that, I was very reluctant. I thought, no, it's very kitsch, and it's not what I like, you know. And then when I saw these photos, I remember I just was mesmerized by it. Do you remember who were your, you know, heroes or inspirations then?
Yeah, in that video, I remember like Jeff Askoff. He's a photographer based in the UK, and he was shooting all film with Leica cameras, like no flash, no assistant, nothing post, and that was like, wow, I want to aspire to be like that. And there was like Jerry Gionis. He was the opposite. Everything was post, everything was like super well lit, and I love the contradiction that you could choose based on your personality, what kind of photographer you wanted to become. And as you say, like Jose Villa or Elizabeth Messina, the thing is like sometimes we don't ask why we feel hooked to their stuff or to their style. And usually it's a mix, you know, like Messina or Jose Villa, it's like editorial thrown mixed into weddings, right? And Jeff Askoff was journalism applied to weddings. So it took me 3 years to see like I wanted to become like an interpretation or a dream photographer applied into weddings.
I see. Listen, and when you started, they were your inspiration. But as far as I know, you don't like to follow other photographers now, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Is it because the eyes get blurred and you kind of don't know what is yours and what comes just, you know, as the pictures you saw and not intentionally, you kind of start to interpret show someone else's vision somehow? Is it why you don't follow? And if it's true, where do you look for inspiration? What's your inspiration in this case?
Yeah, well, nowadays it's a lot of like graphic designers or illustrators as well. But like my go-to guy, his name is Rodney Smith. He's my favorite photographer, like all-time favorite photographer. So yeah, when I grab my camera, it's like, what will Rodney do here? Okay. You know, it's as simple as that. My style, it's not original. It's just a mix of the things that I feel that inspire me, and then I try to apply it into my own weddings. That's my go-to. So if I only consume wedding photographers, it's gonna be so like copycats or like a cannibal, you know. So I prefer to get inspiration from cinematographers, and most of the books I read or the documentaries or the podcast I consume are about that, about the creative process, about who copy who, and where do they find like their crossroad into becoming how they see things.
Yeah, because you know, I think it's a very fine ice, right? When you begin, you kind of follow the best, or you want to find people you like, and you copy, because it's how you start. You just try to do, and then you invent your own tools, and then you somehow migrate towards your own style, right? But first you need to know the moment when to stop, right? And when start to work on individual projects and stop following the other people and stop copying when, you know, you are mature enough to start work on your own language. But my main question is actually not about that, but it's about guys like you who are very mature, you know, and very established, a good, like the famous wedding photographer. And how do you, well, now how to say it? How do you push your creativity within the framework of a wedding, which is very rigid? Because basically, with your experience, I'm sure that you know, okay, this is the moment that I must photograph. This is the angle which will always work, and my clients will love the job and will recommend me, and they'll earn all the money in the world with it. So, you know, you just know what works, and you're able to keep working. But I'm absolutely sure, because I follow your work and I see how with every wedding you push yourself, you push your clients to the next level. And you don't stop, you know, where, okay, I know that like this pose always works. No, it's always different pose. And how do you keep it within yourself? Do you, like, I don't know, force yourself to, you know, make different poses or something? Do you have some kind of discipline actually in this creativity?
Well, for me, it's always trying to consume things that amaze me. You know, that's my go-to. Like for example, music. I never hear the music, or never listen to music that I want to hear. I listen to Spotify in random or aleatory order. You know, that way my ideas are always fresh. As well, in my house, that it's your house, I have different kind of books all over. So instead of grabbing the phone, sometimes I might grab a book about art, and I just see the art, and sometimes I grab one about poetry. So everything is like a new connection. You're always trying to open up this tiny little box, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my goal, to always keep inspired. If I go to the store, I never try to take the same path. It's because that way I'm gonna see a different texture, or I'm gonna try to change my habits of perception. And so right now there's no excuses to just watch what Netflix wants you to watch, you know, like the trendiest top 10. It's like, come on, dudes, we can push harder.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well, it's like your social media. I try to see it as a museum. I want to guide my future clients to, okay, if I hire this guy, I don't know what I'm gonna get. You know, it's never the same freaking picture. So it's not pushing the universal envelopes, but at least your personal ones.
But by the way, about the clients, you know, it's not every client who will, well, I don't know, you know, have a $10,000 dress and then lay on the ground somewhere, or go to some blogs. Like, do you pre-select them? You know, do you say no sometimes because you see this is not the people with whom you will be able to work and push this creativity? Or sometimes you say, well, it's fine. They are nice guys. They're not that, you know, courageous, but we will have a nice photo shoot and you know, still work with. What's your method there?
Yeah, like till this day, after 15 years, maybe like 25% of the couples that book me are ideal couples. The rest, you have to work hard, you know?
Yeah.
And those 25 usually are other photographers or are designers. And it's scary. It's scary to try to surpass their expectations.
Yeah.
So again, like if there's a hurricane, I want to be in the middle, because I know that I have to push my own ideas.
Yeah.
So yeah, like being afraid, like even till today, on the wedding day, I feel like the bride or the groom. I have a hard time sleeping. I feel butterflies. My stomach doesn't feel right. You know, I have never given things for granted. When you stop feeling that, change direction or photograph other kind of photography, because when you feel like the master, it's time to quit.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and
I always...
It's this internal calm, right? If you don't get this adrenaline in the morning or before, it's one of the reasons why I quit photography professionally, because I didn't get the butterflies anymore. So it's like, okay, that's gone. That's somehow something is gone. And because it's the main driver, right? It's very, very important for successful shoot. But it's very important that you say it, and thank you very much, you know, because sometimes I think if there are some young photographers listening to it or who are going to listen to it afterwards, you know, sometimes when you look at an established photographer's portfolio and you think, oh, well, this person has all these brilliant couples, you know, who have, I don't know, who, yes, who jump when they dresses into the Pacific Ocean or whatever. And I have just my forest and my grooms and brides, you know, who are very conservative. And what can I do? That it's good to know that, you know, that it's still a percentage of these creative couples. And then the rest of it, you work with it and you try to push, but as long as they give it, let you, right? So that, I guess.
Yes. And I'm a true believer that working for free, it's the best way to experiment and expand for future couples. What I mean is like the first 3 years of my career that I was just trying to understand how I saw things. Usually I photograph in a very classical way, and then I gave like a day after session for free.
Okay.
You know, and giving it for free, not for cheap, but for free, allow me to feel more experimental and try to play with my compositions. And slowly, the people started to connect the craziness with my brand.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, but yeah, it took a lot of times. And to be totally honest, when I was started to do that, I knew that maybe the income wasn't going to be the best. So we just lower our expectations. We stopped paying rent and we came to live with my in-laws, you know, because we knew that it was a risk. And sometimes we want to have the best of both worlds. You know, we want to have a lot of money.
Sorry.
He's agreeing with me,
yes,
you know, or she. And so we were like, okay, we have to lower our monthly expenses.
Yeah.
To try to aspire to get there.
Yeah, I see. Well, it's a very good tip, and I think, you know, to make some, if you want craziness, try to give it someone for free. That's a good tip for some of people who want to try it. But you know, now you teach a lot, and as I said, well, I knew you as a photographer, and then I started to follow you as an educator. But now in your journey from photographer to photographer and educator, did you make some interesting discoveries about the field, about photography, about the weddings? Because you're exposed to a lot more people, a lot of more opinions and so on. Some interesting discoveries on this path, on this way?
Yes. Well, first of all, when you start teaching, you have to be able to put on paper what defines your style, you know? And that's scary. Like, okay, so what's my strongest suit? And you have to be totally honest, and you have to ask your friends where I suck and where I like surpass the locals, no? And so you have to try to push your level a little bit more. The teaching part as well, what I love, it's knowing new photographers, you know, because as someone who lives out of a dream or something intangible, you know that this has like a caducity date. You know that this can last maybe 1 year or 10 years or 30 years. So for me, like teaching, it's a way to connect with newer generations and see where I don't know, where they're struggling, and knowing as well if you're being outdated at the same time.
Yeah, it's very important, right?
Yeah, so it's not like, yeah, I know everything. It's like, okay, guys, I know this. I know that this is my strong suit. What else can you teach me? You know, so it's the conversation. It's not the, yeah, I'm the big boss. It's the opposite. It's like, okay, let's learn together, and it's creating this community. I'm never being like, I'm better than, you know. It's like, no, guys, that's I love teaching because it's a process, and I have to keep pushing my limits.
Yeah, and well, I think as well, although you do work a lot internationally, you work with a lot with international clients, right? You travel a lot to photograph.
Usually it's couples that fly to Mexico to get married.
Okay.
You know, so.
But so because I think you told us the story that you used to ship your hard drives to, you know, to home or something. I think it was the story, but it's how I remember that you traveled. But so usually, but it's still international couples a lot. Or actually, my question is, I think your style is at the same time very international. Your language, your creative language is very understandable to everyone. Well, I'm Russian living in Switzerland, but at the same time, there is this very, well, very, passionate, colorful Mexican soul inside. To which extent for you, and how do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself more Mexican photographer, or do you think it's more international language? What speaks in you from this point of view?
I think like every creator, we have like different stages. I remember I jumped of happiness when I had a picture in focus. I had my first couple of years, and then a picture in focus with a decent composition. Yes, like 2 thumbs up, and then those things with a moment. So it's just adding like Lego blocks, and once you have a little bit of everything, you can have a little bit of leverage as well. Okay, I want to mix a moment with this, and then I know that I have to be patient to have a little bit of all these 3 elements. So I know that in my career, sometimes I have sacrificed like moments to capture like a incredible composition, and then you feel like, oh, dude, I'm exceeding on the composition, and I'm lacking of moments. So it's like you have to always try to have a little bit of balance in between, and having like a checklist, a mental checklist of what are you thriving and where are you sucking. and the thing is, like, you have to learn how to shout to get to the couples who understand, like, yeah, you're not gonna get everything, and I know that you're gonna maybe lose a little bit of moments because you're waiting for these kind of images. So my style right now, I think I'm trying to not sacrifice the moment, and get a decent composition. But in the past it was composition first. The light for me, it's like, yeah, whatever. I never consider like a professional photographer, because sometimes light, it's not the main goal of my compositions or my creations. And so if I talk with a professional photographer, will be like, oh, but photography means painting with light. You're being disrespectful. And it's like, yeah, thank God we live in a world that you can be the perfect painter of light, and then a decent guy composing.
Yeah.
So you can choose in your like percentages where you want to fit. So I think the teaching part has made me a more international photographer, but that has been because I don't want to be the best photographer in my hometown. I don't want to be the best photographer in the world. I know that I suck at so many things. So where do I have to put myself to learn from the best? So if I go and teach in a convention, then I can sit down and learn from the others who are better than me.
Yeah, I so miss the conventions, especially like the way up north and all this. You just inspire and learn so much. It's so pity that for now it's all on hold.
Yeah, we need contradiction, and a convention is that a huge freaking contradiction.
Absolutely. But listen, I think I know what you're going to answer, but I still my son plays piano very actively, and I recently read an article where they say that you must first, before the talent shows up, like before people play, I think 80,000 hours is a huge amount of hours. Everyone is the same. So it's about persistence. And only afterwards, after you play this amount of hours, some people can go higher because they have some natural talent to something. And some people will more or less stay on the same level. So it's about, not only about talent, in the beginning it's about persistence, and only afterwards about talent. In some other fields, sometimes it's first about talent and then about persistence. What do you think about photography? What matters most, like talent and creativity, or persistence and practice?
Well, no matter which path you take, you have to know that there's an audience willing to pay for it. That's my main goal, because I live in a city that has like 5 million people. Where I live, it's a huge audience but I don't get connection here. You know, like people here, they see weddings in a more traditional way. So it will be stupid if I want to change their perception.
Yeah.
You know, so I think talent, it's amazing, but then how far you want to go to master a little bit of that talent as well. Because it's the same in music. I know you can be super talented, but when people listen to you, they can say, "Bravo, you're a maestro of that," but you're not making me cry. You know, or you're not making me feel, or you're not making me go inside and acknowledge my life. And then you can find like a musician, like a street musician, who only knows like 3 chords, but has this power, that's this sensibility that makes you cry on the first note. So what kind of creator you want to be? You wanna be able to touch a few, or you want to be like applauded by millions, you know? And I think you have to know that how big is your audience, and be honest with that.
And know what they want, right? When in the startup world, I have this mantra, well, not me, it's everyone, you know, build something people want, not something only people need, but something they want. So I guess in photography, it might be similar too. Listen, I have just one more question left, because I know actually we had another live chat before, so I won't take too much of your time, but I have these questions. For me, it's very important. You know, if you could give only one advice to your younger self, not to any other photographer, but your younger self professionally, what would it be?
I think it will be like never believe the hype. I think that I would say self-confidence, it's overrated. Like you can be an insecure person, and that can be your drive. You know, because I remember like seeing movies or meeting other photographers that they were like, yeah, I'm the big shit, you know. and it was intimidating for me to be like, holy shit, like I don't have all those abilities or characteristics that make me want to thrive. I want people to I don't know, make them feel and think at the same time with my art. My personality, it's an extra, you know, but if we focus in our craft, and if we focus on being like decent human beings, I think it's easier to excel than to try to make people feel like crap. So I always admire people who give their talent to their audience. I say bravo. Like let the ego down and just connect in a more human and direct way.
Well, that's a great advice. I think it can be useful not only for younger yourself, but for everyone. That's true that it's very, well, sometimes intimidating, right? When you come to, or you meet a bigger or more mature photographer who is very, very concentrated on himself or herself rather than on other people. Well, thank you very much, first of all, for the discussion. And second, you know, I presented Rawsie 2 years ago at Web North. I remember you sitting there, and I remember you trying there, and something didn't work in the beginning, as never does with the software. And it still did try it, and you know, I'm really, really happy that, and I'm really thankful, genuinely, that you supported us. For me personally, and for the team, it really means the whole world. So thank you very, very much. So that's
no, my pleasure. Not every transaction has to be monetary. When you believe in a project, I think there's bigger meanings than just trying to get every single time. You know, my English is failing on me right now. Sorry.
No, but it's true, and I totally agree with you here, because for me, the Rawsie is such a thing. So you know, we actually make raw image compression for satellite companies and biotech. But for me, it was very important to create probably something which won't be that monetized, but it should be, you know, giving back to the community where I come from. And it's super, super important. So I'm very, very thankful for your support and for everyone's support of people who are with us in the beginning, who are joining us right now. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Have a nice afternoon, I guess, now in Mexico. And well, we'll stay in touch, right?
Thank you. Thank you. And sorry for not remembering. I have a really crappy memory.
You know, if you would remember every of your students, I would be very, very surprised. No, but it was ages ago. I think I tried to remember myself, and I couldn't understand whether 6 or 7. So, and but you know, I think this is a great role of an educator to have impact on people who you don't really know very well, remember very well. You know, just passing by, just to send them something. And the funny story was we were in some very boring brick Belgian town. There was like literally nothing there, very nice couple, but they were very shy too. And I remember everyone was struggling how to make something beautiful out of it because there was no green, nothing. And there was one little plant growing between the bricks. And I remember you taking this plant and putting in front of your lens to have this nice green blur. And people were like, wow, that's actually... And there were beautiful pictures at the end. I remember how this magic happened. Thank you, to you finding this one little piece of green and this whole brick street and making a beautiful image. So that's why I'm very, very thankful for, you know, for this inspiration and for this talk for sure. Thank you very much.
You have a family and a friend in Mexico.
Yeah, thank you. And you in Switzerland, you know, if ever here we have beautiful Alps, so please do come photograph here and you'll be very, very welcome here.
Thank you, guys. And thanks for the software. It's freaking amazing. If anyone has tried it, please, guys. If you don't want to have like a block of hard drives, go for it. It's just genius.
Yeah, so go Rawsie, follow everyone, and that's a great community. So it's great to have guys like you here. Thank you very much, Fer.
Give a beautiful French kiss to your husband. That's a way of welcome.
I will. It's a way to thank him for this compression. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much for joining and for watching. So, and for your feedback and the hearts you were sending. It was the first interview. We'll have more to come with some of friends of Fer, I'm sure. So please stay tuned for our account. Bye-bye.
Beautiful. Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye.